Hey everybody, I am back and today I'm going to be sharing the long-awaited breakfast casserole recipe with you. I've had several people ask me for this and now I'm going to make it. There is one issue though. I am missing a key ingredient because we ran out. It's the pork panko, but I'm going to show you what I came up with as a good replacement for that. So let's get started. All right, here are all the ingredients. I just wanted to share this so you could have an idea of what you want to have on hand when you're making this. So I've got my Nellie's eggs. Those are my favorite eggs. These are extra large because they were on sale. Honestly, it doesn't really matter if they're large or extra large. Just adjust to the size pan that you want to cook this in. But I've also got my Kirkland grass-fed butter, which is great, by the way. And then I've got some chopped dried onion, some Redmond's real salt, some mustard, and a package of sausage. Just get whatever kind you like. That's what I like. We will need to use a little bit of milk in this recipe, and some Worcestershire sauce. And then I like to combine cheeses for this. Usually I like to have a sharp cheese and then something that's a little bit more melty, which is the Colby Jack. Okay, I've got my oven preheating to 375, and then I've been heating up my cast iron pan so I can cook up that sausage. So I cracked my 12 eggs into my mixing bowl, and then I'm going to pour 1 cup of milk into that, start whisking that up in my KitchenAid. Meanwhile, the sausage is looking good. It's nice and brown. And then, all right, let's get our milk in there. Okay, so that's ready. Now, what I usually do is go ahead and whip up these eggs and get those going, and then add all the other ingredients in just a few minutes. I'm gonna grab my whisk. All right. Okay, so I'm going to do 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. And I'm using a ½ teaspoon, so 2 of those. It gives us a really, really good flavor in there. And then I'm going to do a teaspoon of dry mustard. I'm using a quarter, so bear with me. Extra scoops there. I guess my teaspoon is dirty. Okay, so there's something that I wanted to share. It bothers me because usually when I add salt or something like the chopped onion, it tends to sit in the bottom of the bowl and then I have to scrape it out at the end. So I'm gonna actually complete mixing together all the wet ingredients, and then when I pour it into my dish, I'm actually gonna add the salt and the onion on top so it gets more evenly distributed. So I went ahead and greased my pan. This is a 9 by 13. And I put in the sausage first. It's nice and brown. Some people like it crispy. Guys, you can do whatever floats your boat here. I like mine just right in the middle. But I put that in first. And then once this mixture is done, which it pretty much is, I'm going to go ahead and pour it on top of this. And then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so I'm pretty much just gonna try to evenly pour this over, so the sausage doesn't move around too much. Shell. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and add in that salt now. And that way it just gets a little bit more, like I said, evenly distributed across the whole casserole, and you don't run into like a spot within seasoning. That's no good. Okay, and then I'm gonna do some sprinkles of this chopped onion. Again, you could do fresh onions in here. Obviously, you could do any kind of vegetables that you want. I like keeping it pretty simple. Okay, so I promised you that I was going to find a way to replace the pork panko in this. I'm ordering some, but anyway, I made some of this protein-sparing bread last week, and I made them into little buns so I could make sandwiches. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to dice these up and treat them like croutons or like breadcrumbs, if you will. And I'm going to dice them up and I'll put them in my air fryer and get them crispy, and then sprinkle them on the top of the breakfast casserole. And y'all, I'm really hopeful that this is going to be tasty and something new. I've never seen anybody do this. So fingers crossed that it tastes good. So I think I'm gonna just try to stack these up and treat them just like I would any piece of bread. The original recipe that I used to make before I was keto or ketovore was actually a Southern Living recipe. I don't know if you guys read that magazine, but anyway, it's sort of an iconic recipe, and of course it had bread in it. So this is what I would do, slice up bread slices, but instead we're gonna have these little protein sparing bread slices, and I'm just gonna pop them on this tray and we'll toast them up. We'll diced up pieces. And then after this, once these go into the air fryer and start crisping up, I'm going to start shredding my cheese and adding that in, and we will combine both these breadcrumbs, croutons, and cheese, and then get this baby in the oven. Okay, so here's my grated cheese, and like you saw a moment ago when I was shredding this, I basically use a whole block of cheese, just half-half, and I'll try to mix them up a little bit. It's just sort of tough, but I think what I'm gonna do is go ahead and start sprinkling this in, and start adding probably 3/4 of it in, and then I like to take a knife or something, and kind of push it in to the egg mixture a little bit so it's not just sitting on top. I don't really like when it gets a big like fat cheesy layer on top. I like for it to be inside the casserole. So I'm gonna take my thing and just kind of push it in a little bit. That way it's inside the casserole and not sitting on top, so you get cheese in every bite. Okay, so as soon as my breadcrumbs are toasty, I'm gonna pull those out and probably do like a little bit of a layer, and then maybe a little bit of cheese, and then I'll do some butter dotted on top. I'll show you that in just a second. Okay, these turned out awesome. They're nice and crispy and crunchy. So I think they're ready to be put onto the casserole, and then we can get this in the oven. Okay, so I've got my breadcrumbs. Well, these little things turned out great. It's like necessity is the mother of invention, right? I mean, I didn't have my pork panko that I love, but I came up with something else gonna do sort of a layer of these. So they cover, you know, the top, and you get a little bit of a crunch is the hope. Because it's nice to have different textures. Since you're eating a casserole, it's basically just going to be, you know, soft and gooey. So you need a little bit of a texture difference on there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put some of this cheese on top of this. If you guys like more cheese, go ahead. I mean, you could do any amount of cheese, really. You can't go wrong with that. Okay, so I'm gonna put the rest of these little crouton breadcrumbs on top. And then I highly recommend that you take your little pats of butter and just kind of dot them around. I need a couple more. So just kind of dot them around. And this is gonna really give nice crispness and texture to the top of this casserole. I'm gonna do one final sprinkle of this onion Redmond's sea salt on the top. Can you tell I'm excited? I'm excited about this. Okay, here it is. It's looking delicious. And I'm gonna put it in that 375-degree oven. It will cook for at least 30 to 35 minutes, but again, to your desired doneness. Okay, this has been cooking for about 35 minutes. It's looking nice and golden brown on top. I'm gonna pull it out. So this looks so good. The protein bread browned up super nicely. It's nice and crunchy, which is gonna be a great texture. Got some, the butter is frothing. Anyway, it's best to let this cool for at least 20 minutes before you try to start eating it. But it looks awesome. I'm so excited to taste it. And I hope you guys try this out. And if you do, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. And then I did want to just say, if I did have the pork panko, what I usually do is take about 3/4 of a cup of that and sprinkle it over the top and add some pats of butter to it as well. So if you want to use pork panko instead of the protein sparing bread, that's how you would do it. I'm also going to leave a link in the description to the recipe for the protein sparing bread by Maria Emmerich, and that way you guys can make a batch and try it out for many uses, but this looks like a winner. Okay, well, thanks for hanging around with me, making this breakfast casserole. If you guys enjoyed it, drop me a comment and let me know. And thanks for watching. Have a great day.